Technology for good. Endurance towards circumstances. Patience towards people. Negativity and cynicism are easy. Gratitude is hard. While we all come from different work backgrounds, faiths, and beliefs, there is a universal language. Gratitude. Our students are our future, and while this group is passionate about innovation and technology, our objective with this episode is to further explore the people and relationships aspect of this framework. I was recently connected with two incredible people. Brady Lucas, who is the Penn State University Assistant Director of Foundation Relations for the Penn State College of Medicine and Penn State Health. Charlotte Tucker, a child actor who has a channel for spreading positivity and joy. Brady Lucas's LinkedIn heading says, "Creating a positive future through smiles, philanthropy, and advocacy. Smiles make the world go round." On his LinkedIn page, Brady shares, "No child should ever have to battle cancer, but from a young age I was personally affected by the terrible disease. I believe my experiences in life have allowed me to conquer my goals and dreams by learning, speaking, and fundraising on behalf of childhood cancer. I currently work to help obtain resources and create a more educated community within medical research, medical education, and overall positive health. I brand myself on smiles making the world go round." Brady shared with me a topic that spans across all our worlds, work professions, faiths, or beliefs. That is something called compassion fatigue and emotional paralysis.
Okay, so I'm here with Brady Lucas today, and I really appreciate him being willing to partner with us on this project. Brady, do you mind giving a little bit of an overview as far as your background and some of your experiences?
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much, Julie, for having me. Very excited to be a part of this project and share thankfulness and gratitude within the workplace, as well as just gratitude as a whole, something I don't take lightly, and I try to express it in any way I can every single day and in every second. So a little bit about me. I am a 26-year-old who currently resides in Rockville, Maryland, so just north of DC. Professionally, I work in the development nonprofit fundraising space for Penn State University, specifically the College of Medicine and the health system, working with foundation donors. In addition to my professional work, I work with many individuals, especially in the cancer community, the childhood cancer community to be specific. Being myself, I am a two-time leukemia survivor and battled childhood cancer when I was a young child, and then when I was a teen and adolescent, and now looking at what long-term survivorship looks like for the childhood cancer community, but also young adults as they grow up in a very challenging time, and addressing the mental health as well as addressing some of the spiritual and emotional and physical health and side effects that they deal with long term. So what that looks like for me is really advocacy work from the standpoint of being a sounding board for individuals that may not have that voice, or also advocating for different treatments as well as safer treatments, more effective treatments, and the research funding for that. And then another real important aspect of me growing is that preventative side of things. Is how do we look at prevention from the 360 viewpoint? And that's really of onset of childhood cancer continues to rise. There's more kids getting diagnosed with childhood cancer and other illnesses across the board. And how can we stop some of these illnesses from starting in the first place and causing long-term effects, instead of our main focus being just the diagnosis as well as the treatment? So really what my focus is now is to make the world a better place through that. And whether that's being involved in different organizations, have a book coming out hopefully within the next month. So a children's picture book that we're excited to announce here shortly. But really what the goal is to provide a better world for other individuals such as myself, but also give the empowerment to children long-term in the future to have that empowering aspect to really be in control of their treatment in times that often aren't as easy or easy to be in control.
Brady also sent me a link to this article, Compassion in the War Zone. The article covered the same topic that spans across all our worlds, work professions, faiths, or beliefs. Compassion. The danger is something called compassion fatigue and emotional paralysis. Others feel emotionally disconnected. Some start playing mind games with themselves and find ways to cut corners or avoid difficult situations during work. They combat it with self-care. Delivering compassion, the job is threefold: managing situations, residual stress, proactive work. Burnout and compassion fatigue can strike anyone, regardless of mental strength and stamina. They rebound through rituals. Taking time away from the job. Disconnecting on the drive home. And bless these hands that they may continue each day to be a blessing to others.
Well, that is exciting about the book. That is amazing as far as what you're doing there for these families. So I'm anxious to hear more about the book. When is it going to be released?
So the goal is within the next month. It may change. We'll see. It's
Okay.
really been a project in the working for many years now. And what's very interesting is my master's degree is in education, curriculum, and instruction, to be specific, but then I have an emphasis in children's literature. So for me, my goal has always been throughout everything is education's been a staple. I have three main pillars to my life, and it's faith, family, and education. And those really are what drive every decision, as well as what drive what I do professionally, but also personally. And the education standpoint is real big for me, because for me, when I was going through treatment, especially, and going through some of the other hard times in my life, education was that constant. And my thought was, if I can stay on track for being educationally the same as my peers, or if not excelling above, the standard status quo, I guess you can say, then I was doing something right. And I was being able to have that normalcy in a time that was very not normal. Everything's not normal, but for me, it wasn't your typical what a third grader or fourth grader, even going into my high school years, should be going through. It's more of, a very different experience. So that education standpoint was big for me. And then the second fold of that is I was grateful throughout my entire treatment. Both my mom and dad, as well as family members, were great at empowering me to be part of the decision making for my treatment. So you have your standard protocols and things like that. But for me, it was also, how do you take advantage of using every resource that you have, and child life specialists and music therapy, art therapy, all these holistic people that really are so critical for any kind of child to experience within a chronic illness or just an illness, even if it's an acute illness or a stay in the hospital, whatever it may be, and really look at that holistic picture. And that educational standpoint was huge for me. So the book has a focus on giving a child the information that they can understand, as well as they can be informed within their decision making. And I think that starts as early as it can, as early as a child can conceptualize what is going on. We need to make sure that they have the skills, as well as at least the general knowledge. And I understand there's limitations for very young children, but at the same time, I think children are very smart and they have the opportunity to grow through these experiences. And it's a traumatic experience too, that it takes many years of life to address later in life. And I would say, some of these things, even from my personal experience, I'm addressing now. And I was diagnosed in 2005 initially, and then am 11 years post my last treatment, but I'm still, addressing some of the problems that I had now. And I think it's critical that we intervene early as well as effectively.
So the impact you and your team are making is incredible across the board. Can you tell me a little bit about your team and how you work together to make this impact across, so many people's lives?
Yeah, I think, teamwork is critical in everything. And I don't take that lightly as either. Mentioned earlier, gratitude, not taking lightly, but the teamwork aspect is huge too, as a community. And, whether that be faith community, whether that be family, friends, community at Penn State, community at Penn State Health, or just community as a whole, I think we need to work together from these aspects and really take each individual skills and put them together for a better framework. So what we're really doing from the professional standpoint is trying to provide extra funding for research so the individuals that are amazing at doing research have those resources. It's not cheap, nor we also recognize that you can't do the quality of research and attract the quality talent of researchers without having funds to pay them or have the funds to give them the best facilities or the best opportunities to conduct what they want to conduct. And then on top of that, too, the other main aspects of the scholarship support. So bringing the best and brightest talent to the College of Medicine, as well as, just Penn State University as a whole from that standpoint. And then programmatic support. So how do we ensure that our programs that are supporting the community within central Pennsylvania and beyond are the best they possibly can be? So that looks at the collaborative aspect of things, from internal strategy meetings to hitting the strategic plan from the university, as well as the health system and the College of Medicine, to the standpoint of how do we provide the best resources possible. And then I would say personally, the team extends far beyond. I'm the type of person that takes relationships very strongly and tries to find ways that we can work together and we can make the better part of the world. So really where that comes from is the trust in God and the trust in the faith background, and how do I do as much as I can within limitations? Because I think that's a huge thing that I've learned as well throughout my process is you have to say no to sometimes to create the better good overall. And that's a big thing that is so critical that I think is a message that I always like to get across, because it's been something that I've learned the hard
learning
parts.
to say no.
Yeah.
Learning to say no.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not easy. And someone that wants to help, it's very hard to do. So I think that's a critical thing too. And then it allowed me to prioritize what I really want to do and stay true to the faith, family, and education aspects of my life. And my family's been huge with that. I'm very close to my mom and my dad, as well as my brothers, and utilizing them as sounding boards, as well as individuals that I can rely on, and adding on to my fiance is an incredible resource to just bounce ideas off of.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And continue to move forward from some of the other opportunities that we can create a better community and a better tomorrow. So I would say, grounding my roots and what my values are, as well as grounding the roots and just surrounding myself with people that I want to be around too, that are positive, that are energetic, that have realistic expectations, but like to have fun in the process.
So you talked about community support and some of the partners in in the work that you do. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of those star partnerships that that you really appreciate working with, and why do you appreciate working with them? That makes sense.
Yeah, I think in general for me, it's looking back. It's a lot of the medical providers. It's the getting the chance to work alongside physicians or researchers or nurses or doctors or whoever it may be. Those partnerships are very valuable in the sense that I can be an individual that hopefully provides resources for them to do what they're amazing at. I think for me, not having limitations to the work is so critical. And if there's not limitations to that aspect of things, that's a big partnership. I would also say just the community as a whole. So central Pennsylvania, but as well as any individual that's out there wanting to support creating a better healthcare system, but a healthcare model. And that could be from the form of access, that could be from the form of affordability, that could be from the form of, really the list goes on, but allowing individuals to have the best healthcare possible. And when I define healthcare too, I mean focusing on from the beginning to if you need treated. And really the beginning is the long process. It's how do you sustain nutrition and exercise, and looking at the social determinants of health to allow any individual to have access to clean water and clean food and pesticide free, and not have to worry about some of these toxins that often get in the world. And then I would say from the community side of things, the partnerships are endless. And I really look at, how can I put people in my corner that are going to be able to benefit what my long-term mission is? And that's really to ensure that, from the cancer standpoint, kids aren't getting diagnosed, A, and B, if they are getting diagnosed, they're allowed to have a long-term future after their treatment. And it's not just they hit their treatment and they're done, but rather it's they hit their treatment long term and can, go to college or if they choose to, or go to the military or go do a trade and have
Endless,
families.
endless possibilities, right?
Yeah, just like enlist those endless possibilities from that standpoint. And looking at community from the standpoint of we can all contribute too, and there's all positive that people can contribute, and trying to always find that good deep down in everyone. In an often world that sometimes the positive isn't always there, or I should mention, positive isn't always broadcasted.
No, you're spot on. So your group has been incredibly successful. What kind of leadership do you have? What's your leadership as far as your leadership support and what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, leadership is key for me, and it's really what I look for in anything that I get involved in. And the leadership from my standpoint has been nothing but, amazing. I can't speak of any individuals that I'd rather work for, that I'd rather be under than the individuals that I am under now. And I would say being that holding accountability is so huge today. And it's something that I take very highly, is that an individual should be held accountable for what they do, but also held accountable for the actions that when they do something wrong, they admit it, and the humility of aspect from that standpoint, but also just being willing to be supportive, understanding from any aspect of things. So whether that be, family reasons, friend reasons, being able to stay true to your values, I think is huge too. And I've had nothing but incredible support from that aspect of things.
So when you look at a world that is, when I was little, I used to watch, the news in the morning and my dad would turn it on at night, right? And now you're inundated with news all day long, all kinds of, negative aspects that you just can't seem to get away from. And in that world, I mean, it's nice to see, the positive and all the impact, and you guys are doing it every minute of the day. So, and it's nice to see, really how blessed we are and how fortunate we are. So thank you for all you're doing.
Yeah, of course. No, you're welcome. It's the least we can do. And hopefully it impacts one person. That's the biggest thing. If it impacts one person, great. If it impacts 100 people, great. That one person, though, could be the ripple effect that makes the change.
Yeah. So is there any other advice you have for teams as far as, how to work together well, how to find the positive in the day, how to, focus on your faith and how we've been really blessed? Anything else you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think keeping faith in the workplace from my standpoint as an individual is critical. I don't think an organization as a whole needs to be faith-based or faith valued, but if faith is something that an individual truly cares about, I don't think that they should try to hide it. I think they should live it. And whether that's living it by loving others and showing just gratitude and appreciation towards others, or whether that's, thanking God or praying every morning, and that's what you choose to do. It's really the individual's decision. But I think that's a huge thing that needs to continue to be shown in individuals and leaders. And that's something I try to show within what I do, just living every day, in different aspects of things, but also not being afraid to thank God or thank Jesus or just pray if that's what I choose to do for that day. I think is huge. And I really love that it's becoming more common, I guess you would say, is there's individuals that are on national television doing it. There's individuals that are not afraid to post it, because I think it's something that's big and that our world needs a little of that hope in some of the times of darkness.
And to close, there is Charlotte Tucker. Charlotte, a child actor who has a channel for spreading positivity and joy. Charlotte regularly shares on a topic that spans across all our worlds, work professions, faiths, or beliefs. Being kind to one another, positivity, and thankfulness.
When you can't find the sunshine, you gotta make your own sunshine or be the sunshine. The way I see it, if we could all be nice to each other, even if we don't want to, it would be a happier place. Being kind is really not hard. You just gotta keep the mean stuff to yourself.
Technology for good. Endurance towards circumstances. Patience towards people. Negativity and cynicism are easy. Gratitude is hard.